Okay, what I want to do today is take a look at some SEO or Google Places pages optimization. One of the things that we need to look at anytime we look at the scope of one of these projects is what's going to be our return on investment. So what I want to do today is probably going to break this down into two short videos, but I want to take a look at some of the ranking factors and things that are going on within those keywords, and then also some search volumes and some things that can be expected. So before I get too far into this, I wanted to kind of go over some search results and what we're talking about here. The first thing that you see typically is going to be the ads from Google. And you see up here we have them, they're numbered, and they show up over here on the map as well. And then it depends on the search phrase what shows up next. In this case, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 organic results, and then we get into the places pages. And you can see here what we're looking at. And then we get back down into the organic results. Now, other keywords, you may have all the places pages on top. You may have 1 or 2 organic results in places pages. You may have 3. Google's really changed up what they're doing. So just different things to look at. So what I did was I took some of the search phrases that get the most search volume for terms that relate to bankruptcy in Tucson. And as you can see, here's what they are. This column here is just the number of searches. This is the potential monthly traffic that you could receive off of those searches, and then we get into some competition. And this number over here is if what Google says if you were in the top spot, what you would pay for a click. Typically, this number is actually 50 to 100% higher than what we see right here, but it varies from niche to niche. So for Tucson Bankruptcy, you're looking at 3,600 searches. If you hold the #1 spot, you could expect to get 1,500 of those, give or take. This is not an exact science. These numbers are not exact, and nor are these. But it just kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at here. Okay, I have a little spreadsheet. I have a couple of worksheets that I work with. In this case, all I'm doing is I'm taking the keywords, I'm taking the number of searches, and then we're just multiplying that out by what Google says the cost per click is for each of those terms. And so theoretically, if you were #1 for all of these terms here, and you were paying for that with Google AdWords, this is roughly what you would spend. Now, is that, exactly how it's going to work? Probably not, because here we're showing that typically the #1 search result is going to get anywhere from 45 to 50% of the traffic that hits that search page. With Google AdWords, click-through rates are typically closer to 3 or 4%. Although if you do a good job with your ads and split test, you can get that up to 10 or 15%. I would think with these particular terms right here, if you do your work properly, you should be easily be able to get a 10 or 15% click-through rate. And so these numbers here, instead of getting the 1,500, you get 360 searches or 160, which are still a good number. I mean, this would still give you well over 1,000 searches or 1,000 visitors a month. So this little spreadsheet here just kind of gives me an idea of what the traffic is worth if we're holding that #1 spot. Okay, the wonderful thing about this program is it only allows me to create a 5-minute video, and we're inside of the 4 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this part down, and I'll do part 2 here in just a minute. But again, what I'm looking to do is just show you what's possible, and then we'll take a look at where you stand in the next video.